was lucky enough to be randomly selected to get a code for last weekend's Mortal Kombat 1 stress test. Unlike some creators who were handpicked and then deleted their tweets stating they got in the stress test and then acting like it never happened. You can count that as a daily me. So in this video, I just want to discuss my honest thoughts about this specific build of a Mortal Kombat 1 that I got to play all weekend long. But first, let's look at the community art of the day, which is a beautiful Sub-Zero piece. And just looking at this drawing, the design, the colors, it just fills me with so much nostalgia for the 3D era specifically. I don't know why, maybe it's the colors, maybe it's the outfit that reminds me of Sub-Zero in the 3D games, but it looks freaking amazing. Seriously, a beautiful art piece. If you want to like it, retweet it, whatever it, I will put the link to this artist's Twitter down in the video description for you guys. First, I just want to mention, which obviously this will be in the final build, but release check, aka negative edge, was on by default in the specific build of Mortal Kombat 1, and there was no way to go in the options to change your controller layout or to change controller options. And negative edge is nasty. I can't deal with it. I never play with it, whether it's Street Fighter, whether it's Mortal Kombat, Injustice. I always have it off because it messes up my combo timing so much. And I was wondering why I was having some issues, especially with Kitana's quick dial-in string. And there was my answer. Release check was on. And I also hated that I could not change my throw button to L2 because it's disgusting on L1, like who uses throw on L1, bro? But yeah, that's just a minor stress test gripe that I had with the game, obviously. There will be controller layout options in the final build of the game. Everyone who has played the stress test has mentioned this, so I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm repeating and you've heard this all weekend long, but it has to be said. The game's speed needs to be increased. As of now, it's hard to just walk back and whiff punish safely if you're right in your opponent's face because 1, attack strings are extremely slow, and 2, walk speed is very slow as well. A slight increase would do wonders for better footsies and better neutral, in my opinion, or a more fluid looking gameplay, if you will. A lot of people have also talked about the dash speed, but I think it's fine in my opinion. It's just that it needs to travel a bit further and should be cancelable. Not only will this add a ton of combo routes, but because we don't have like a run mechanic like MKX, it'll help with the overall flow of the game and the flow of neutral. It also goes without saying that attack strings need to be sped up, especially for Kitana. I feel like we're spending a lot of time looking at the animations, even though they look amazing, even though they look beautiful. But there are some that are extremely long, like Kenshi's stance attack where he sends his sword flying at the opponent and his spirit guard attacks the opponent full screen, and this thing lasts like 5 seconds or more. No joke, it's so freaking long. Imagine having to watch this multiple times a day, every day for years. Nah, dude. And some cameo throws are really slow. I feel like it just slows down the gameplay uselessly. Like, I'm glad crushing blows aren't back, but they don't need to put so many cinematic things in this game. It's not a movie. It's a fighting game that needs to move fast. Stop slowing it down at every turn. It kills the flow immensely. And furthermore, there is a slowdown on kill at the end of every single round. That needs to not be a thing, like ever. In MK11, it was just on the last round and it was annoying as hell. Now it's on every single freaking round. It is so annoying to watch and experience. And it's not because it makes combo timing weird, especially when you win the match. It's just another needless slowdown that it kills the flow, it just kills the entire vibe. Personally, I really dislike that. I know it's small, I know it's simple, but I just really hate it. Now, next thing I want to talk about are fatal blows. I hate them with a passion, and it's not because it's a scrub mechanic, I can just press it and win, because it's definitely not in this game, right? But the problem is the block stun and the pushback is insane. It's worse than MK11, and sure they can be punished, and sure if you meaty them on wake up, it'll actually knock them out of the fatal blow, but it depends where on the screen it was activated from, because damn freaking things, bro. They can reach halfway across the freaking screen. It is so stupid. A super should have limited range. You should be able to do it in a combo or in your opponent's face, not halfway across the screen. It is so disgusting. And block stun in general in Mortal Kombat needs to be toned down because it adds so much the feeling of the game being slow, looking clunky and weird. Because not being able to react out of block stun to attack, it's really bad. It feels weird and it looks weird as well. Especially after I've been playing so much Street Fighter 6. And I know MK needs its own identity, but block stun is not it. It's ugly, it's annoying. I really hope they do away with it. And I know what you're thinking, it sounds like I'm just complaining, but I wanted to get the bad out of the way first because there's not a lot of bad. Everything I talked about are minor details. Honestly, this game has a lot of good more than bad, that's for sure. And honest feedback is what NRS was looking for, so that's what I'm giving them. Let's talk about the good. This game has 4K visuals, but everything feels like it's old school, like in a good way, you know, it's extremely nostalgic. From the colors, to the music, to the way the stages look, to the sound design, they really hit the mark with this, at least for me personally. Characters yelling a random gibberish while doing specials is back, and it's amazing. Not all of them seem to have it in this build, so I'm not sure if they'll all have it on like one special or how it'll work exactly, but I'm so happy to see this make a comeback. I think it is an important part of MK's identity, even if it seems stupid or simple, you know, a little goes a long way. I think NRS sometimes have been a bit shy about, you know, really leaning into the cheesiness of Mortal Kombat, the goofiness of it even, because they want, you know, to be a respected game at esports and stuff like that, but I don't think the goofiness takes away from the gameplay. I think actually it adds to it, and I really love the direction of the design they're going with here. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the sound when you perform a fatality is so nostalgic. I absolutely love it. It takes me back to a little Slayer playing the 3D era games, sitting on a carpeted floor with a printed sheet of fatalities for every character next to her. Like, it takes me back to those good memories. And I absolutely love that everything in this game's design calls back to that, but in a way that's not like predatory, you know, in a way that adds to the actual game. Now I know everyone has seen this, but combos are extremely fun, and I know maybe looking at the gameplay it may seem floaty and weird, especially Katana, but that's just because she's slow as hell. But combo structure, when you get it down, it feels really good and natural. Attack strings being slow doesn't help, but I think with some tweaks it could look even more fluid and even more beautiful than it already does. I also love that the armored wake-ups don't lead to full combos, so you don't have to fear this game turning into full-on MKX. Because I know when people say, oh, add a dash cancel, add a faster dash, add a dash that travels further, people are like, oh my gosh, I don't want this to be MKX because this game already has like super long combos, right? But it definitely does not play anything like MKX, and it will not be, so don't fear. It also doesn't play like MK9, it doesn't play like MK11, it's really its own thing. You know, it doesn't play like any other previous game. Sure, it has some similarities to other games, but I really think they have something special cooking here. Another thing I noticed is that there are no stage fatalities in this build. But that doesn't mean that they won't be in the final game, and that doesn't mean that there actually aren't, you know? I honestly hope that stage fatalities are secrets, and that it won't appear anywhere and we actually have to find them. I think a big part of the nostalgia for a lot of older Mortal Kombat players, especially those of us who have played since we were little kids, you know? A lot of that nostalgia lies in the secrets that you have to discover. But in MK11 you had to unlock the fatalities, the brutalities and things like that. But I think it's way better when you discover them on your own and you don't actually know the inputs. And talking about that, the Harakiris are back from the 3D era games, if you guys remember that. but it's in the form of quitalities now. So if someone leaves after a round, their character will still get up and the round will start, but then the character will just like snap their own neck. So it's really funny. I wonder if they'll have more harakiri animations in the final build of the game as well, and if you'll be able to perform harakiris on yourself after you win a match, because you could do that in the 3D era games. It was pretty cool. Like if you feel like you didn't deserve that win, harakiri. I think all this stuff coming back, you know, is a good indicator that we might get even more types of fatalities, as in animalities, friendships, and all that jazz. And I really hope to see a good mix of those things come back. Even if characters only have like one per character, I would be completely fine with it, because friendships in MK11 was like the best thing they did for the game. It was so freaking cool. But yeah, overall, I loved my time with the game. The very last night, especially because I didn't get to play Monday morning, I really started to understand the game more. I started to understand the character I was playing a bit more, and honestly, I was having a lot of fun. I'm so hyped for the game. I'm hyped to see more reveals, the combat casts, and all of that good stuff. I'm so starved for information, even though I just spent the entire weekend playing the game, right? But I can't wait to see what they have in store for us. I think this game is shaping up to be amazing, especially if that leaked roster and all the leaked characters are real. This will honestly be one of the best Mortal Kombat games in a long time. So what about you guys? Did you get in a stress test? What are your thoughts after playing the game for an entire weekend? What are your thoughts if you just watch gameplay and did not get to play it? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, have yourself a wonderful day. And I'll see you all very soon.